Hey everybody, welcome back. This is episode 5 of season 2 of Squid Game. Let's get right into it. The six-legged man race thing. So, you have the people, they tie their legs together so they have 6 legs, and the games begin. Basically, the 5 mini games, the first one is the dachi with the tiles. You have to throw a tile down, and then something happens to the other tile. I have no idea what this game is. I cannot think of an American equivalent to this game. It's kind of baffling. In America, maybe it's tic-tac-toe. We would have played that. Then the second game is standing stone. There is one stone, stood up. You have another stone in your hand. Throw your stone, hit the standing stone, knock it over. 1. Problem is, if you miss, or it hits it and it doesn't fall over, you have to go retrieve your stone and then come back to the line. And that is what costs time, because you only have 5 minutes to accomplish all 5 games. 1 minute a game, then you have to make it past the finish line. So you should really accomplish the games with about 30 seconds left to make it past the finish line with safety. So it's 45 seconds a game, or somewhere, 50 seconds a game, something like that. That's the second game, is the tossing of the stones. The third game is really unique. It is a stone game where you have 5 stones on the ground. Pick one up, toss it in the air. Pick up a stone, catch the stone. Then you toss it in the air again, or maybe you begin by tossing one stone in the air, then you pick up 2 stones, then you catch this stone. Then you toss that stone in the air again, you pick up the other 2 stones, you catch that stone. Now you have 5. You dump them back on the ground. Pick one up, toss it in the air, pick up 3, catch that stone, toss it in the air, pick up the loose one, catch that stone, show the guy. 5 again, drop them on the ground. Then you pick up 1 stone, toss it in the air, catch all 4, catch the stone, show the guy. Okay, then you dump it. And I guess the last one is you toss all 5 in the air and then you catch them and then you show them. But if you lose one, you have to begin over from the start. So it's very complicated. And everybody always catches them on the back of their hand. Maybe that's something you have to do. And then they toss them up and catch them again. If it was required for me to toss 5 stones in the air, catch them on the back of my hand, toss them up, and then catch them again, what kind of game is this? What kind of children's game is this? That is not a child's game. That is a game of absurd skill. That's like, are you training them to be magicians? Are they all magicians? Because people do this. 100 people do this. No, not necessarily. Somewhere around, they begin with about 320 or so, and they end with 110 people are going to die in this game. So, 110 people couldn't do that. Or I guess divided by 5, and what is that, 22 people couldn't do it? It's still absurd. I'm not happy with it. So, it's a crazy game. The 5th game is hacky sack. You just take a hacky sack and you keep it in the air 5 times. Boom, 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 boom. Done deal. Very simple. Very easy. People will still die doing it. Now, not a lot of people have passed away, and that becomes a source of contention. People don't like Guillaume now, because Guillaume has told them these games are going to kill you. Then people died. So they just don't trust him. I don't know why. It seems, I'd be like, why isn't anybody listening to the guy who knows what's going on? Then they voted to stay, which makes everyone who voted to stay moving forward a murderer. I think they are all beginning with a clean slate because none of them knew they'd be dying. The minute people started dying, if you choose to stay, you have thusly murdered those people. Or you're going to murder the next person who dies, because that's the thing. Guillaume is burying the lead. He hasn't told them. Only one person can win. And me and my wife, we had this conversation. Oh, do you think more than one person can win? I'm like, no, I think if you had 2 winners, they would make you play rock, paper, scissors until there was just one winner. Or Squid Game. Or any other number of games. There can only be one. This is Highlander rules apply, my man. You can't have 2 people split in the pot. They say you can. They break their own rules all the time. There are no rules here. If they let you leave, which is strange that they let Guillaume leave, then that's their decision. Personally, it feels like they would have, knowing that Guillaume was looking for them, have kidnapped him a long time ago. But we also have some side characters. So we have one individual who is a transgendered individual, which is very cool to see. However, the part is played by a cisgendered straight man. So I don't know how I feel about that, but it's progress a little bit. Let's take what we can get, right? Then we have Thanos. Thanos is a shocker. Thanos is the individual who is the big bad. He is the gangster person. He's a rapper. He pops pills. And during Red Light, Green Light, Thanos had this one moment where he says tag and he pushes over an entire line of people, killing a bunch of people. Now, the one thing that they don't do as well in this season, as I think they did in the previous season, was the fact that when you have bullets coming in from high-powered rifles, they're not going to stop at one person. Like, bone fragments are going to spin off. Bullets are going to go through people. And I think in season 1 we saw that. We saw like one person get shot and the person behind him gets shot. And it's like, oh, that's why hiding behind people isn't a good idea. I was waiting for that one person at the front of the row to shake a little bit, and the bullet goes through like 6 people before it stops. And the 6th person in line has like a wrecked shoulder and is just stock still. Ah! And then they die. And it's like, oh, that would have been really interesting, because it's like, yeah, now you know this strategy has a downside. But sadly, I think season 2 is, I'm just going to say it, season 2 is losing some of its momentum. It's losing its edge, its bite. We haven't seen absolute chaos or debauchery, and we're already on episode 5 of 7. It's not going to happen. They're not going to have a night of death, I don't believe. They're not going to have these sociopathic individuals. And maybe this shows that they're trying to show that a group of individuals, every group is different. And that makes sense. But we have a guy who is, an active heroin addict who is about to start going through withdrawal, and he has been popping pills alongside Thanos. When is he going to lose his cool and kill people? We have guards who open doors for old women who say, are you really going to make somebody the age of your mother use the bathroom out here in the hall? We have a pregnant contestant who is just a total dick to everybody for no reason. I mean, you're in a life and death situation, people being nice to you, and you're just blatantly disregarding them. I don't know. I'm not a pregnant contestant in Squid Game, but if I was a contestant in Squid Game, I don't think I'd ever be pregnant, just based on science. But a contestant in Squid Game, I'd be nice to people, because of the sole fact that, like, not being nice to people is, hey, tonight we're gonna take out that guy who took my egg earlier. He took my egg, so as a gang, we're taking out Mr. Extra Egg, okay? It's not cool stealing my food. Be nice to people, or they'll beat you to death during the nighttime. I mean, that's what Squid Game's all about, but it's not. Squid Game, it feels different. I mean, I'm not at the edge of my seat. Is Gyeong gonna die? I mean, I would have loved it if while he was doing this, they blew his head off. I know that sounds terrible. It sounds horrible. He broke the rules. His head was moving during red light. He's not a superhero, and that's why we loved him in season 1. He's licking that sugar disc, and you don't know if he's going to survive. The simple marble game was beautiful, because you don't know. And they could have done that and pivoted. They didn't want to. I get it. Now he's bigger, but it feels like season 1 was the roll of the dice. And I appreciate that. They had a level of whatever may happen. Season 2 kind of feels like, hey, we need to play this safe, because now it's a big thing and it's a moneymaker. So we need to pay attention to it and play it safe. And it's like, yeah, I don't know. That's why I appreciate Japanese limited series, because they have a beginning, they have an end. If it becomes big, great. But it started and it ended. You do a second one, it's going to be a completely different story. It feels like this is a completely different story while still being a continuation of the first one. And you can't have your cake and eat it too. You know, you're not the Evil Dead. The Evil Dead could do that. You can't do that. You're not the Evil Dead. No matter how much you want to be. Because Evil Dead 2 was 10 times sicker than Evil Dead 1. And Evil Dead 1 was a brutal movie. Feels like you went from Evil Dead 1 to Cabin in the Woods. Cabin in the Woods is not the Evil Dead. And it's nowhere close to as gruesome, horrifying. You know, it's got comedy elements. It's not. So the game that we end on in this episode is, I forget the name of it. It's a big, like, spinny disc in the ground. Everyone goes on the disc, and there's a really cool scene where the camera shows you from up top, and you see all the people in the circle with a circle in the middle. Really cool. So the disc is spinning around to disorient you, I'm sure, because the disc is going to stop when the music stops, and a number is going to be called out. Let's say this number is 5, because there's 255 contestants. You need to find 5 people, or 4 other people, including yourself, and go through one of the many doors that are lining the walls. You have 30 seconds to do this. Now, here's my thoughts. Let's say there are 50 doors, and the number they call out is 2. There's 255 people. There are 50 doors, 2 people through each door, only 2. If there's more than 2, I'm sure you die on the other side. If there's less than 2, I'm sure you die on the other side. So, I'm excited to see what numbers they call out, because it could get brutal very fast. I mean, imagine if they called out 2 as the first number, and then 7 as the second. And then the third number is like 28. Like, you're just going to have people die. And that's, I think the point is, in the last Squid Game season, the game that really purged the populace, if you will, the population, was the sugar disc game. Almost everyone who chose Umbrella died. Then you have this season, where only 110 people pass away in the second game. And in the first game, even less people died. So we have 255 by the third game, and that's more than 3/4 of the individuals. Or not 3/4, but yeah, I think that would actually be 3/4 of the individuals, 255. Maybe not. Maybe a little less than 3/4. Maybe like 65%. But it's still a significant amount. So we're going to see what happens. I'm excited for it. I mean, I'm not giving up on the season by any means. I'm in it to win it. But I don't know. There's some things that have rubbed me the wrong way, so to speak. And I will speak about that in a special episode of, Alex Ruins Everything, which is, it's the episodes I'm going to make where I just want to rant about something. So we'll see what happens there. Thank you so much for tuning in. I am the Duke of Alex, the Duke of myself, so to speak. It's good to be seen, and it was good to see you. Have a wonderful day. Bye, y'all.